is Phil responsible for Dimebag's death? And this is something that came up in the comments a lot because we do a lot of Pantera content, obviously. You know, we are always talking about Pantera. So someone commented about, you know, with the Pantera reunion, I think a lot of people's beef with it is that a lot of people believe Phil was responsible for the murder of Dimebag. There's definitely a lot of people that think that, the guy killed, shot Dimebag because Pantera broke up because he thought he broke Pantera up. I mean, what do you think? Have you?
I mean, I've heard that, but like, I think it's dumb.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. And I went into the weeds on this, so we're going to go into the weeds. But there's no evidence of it. You know what I mean? And there's actually a lot of evidence that it had nothing to do with Pantera breaking up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he was mentally ill and PTSD and who knows what. And what I don't understand, like, okay, let's just say that that's the case. Like, he's mad at Phil for breaking up Pantera. Then why don't you take it out on Phil? Why Dimebag?
Totally. That's a great point. Why?
You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. It's like, okay, so then you take it out on Dime?
Yeah.
Nah.
Well, so check this out. I want to show you this example I came across of just what people think. And this is a guy who was
Pantera,
at the show.
I know some about Pantera. I know that one of the guys passed away, but like I've seen Anthrax live. I've seen Judas Priest. I've seen AC/DC. I've seen Metallica and Faith No More and Guns N' Roses. I've seen Motley Crue. I've seen a lot of bands. So,
well, listen, this ain't about how many bands you've seen. This is about your Matt Brown. And he happened to be at that fateful night. He was right there, an arm's length away, where Dimebag Darrell was murdered in front of Matt Brown.
Serious?
Yeah.
Yep, I watched it happen. I watched him get shot in the back of the head. I watched a guy less than arm's length away from me get shot in his arm.
So this guy's actually like a UFC fighter. His name is Matt Brown.
Wow.
Watched the off-duty cop come in and blow the head straight off of the guy that was shooting everyone. Yeah. Seen the whole thing.
How? I like legit.
Yeah, I was right there. I was like two people. I was in the mosh pit, or like right in front of the mosh pit, like two people, from the stage when it happened.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, imagine.
That's
I mean,
terrible.
he told the harrowing story on my old podcast.
Terrible.
And it was touching because at the end,
Oh my God.
everybody was safe. The off-duty cop who was saved, everybody happened to be an African-American guy named Negro Meyer.
His name's James Niggemeyer. Yeah.
So, by the way, he's not African American.
Right.
Worse. God has God.
His name did sound racist, though.
You saw.
James N-word Meyer.
I'm not going to.
I tried to soften the blow.
Did you know the guys in the band? Like, did you know Dimebag?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
He wasn't a fighter. He was working at the fucking no joke. He was working at Marzette.
Yeah, I was working at Marzetti at the time, actually. And
didn't you say you got if I remember correctly, the reason you was able to go to the concert is because he got in trouble at the fucking oil factory.
Okay, let me go to the end because this is.
I remember Dimebag laid out on the floor with his guitar still in his hand.
So just to pause right there, as tragic as this is, how else would he have wanted to die? I mean, he said he's laid with his guitar in his hand.
That's true.
Just he had very long hair, and just all crunched together with the blood, and it was just terrible.
Did he see it coming, or maybe it came from behind?
Playing guitar,
know what? That's the one saving grace. Imagine to him, maybe it's not even traumatic. It's like he dies just boom, like playing the fucking guitar.
For sure, it was at the it was just
and
like.
What was the story behind it? It was personal. I mean, obviously it was.
So Pantera broke up. This was in a band called Damage Plan, which was Dimebag's band after Pantera. And this guy was just a crazed lunatic, a war veteran, and he believed that Dimebag had broken up Pantera. And it was I don't know. Like people freaking love Pantera, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a little bit obviously way psycho, but yeah, you know, he was, you know, he touched a lot of people, and he just touched that guy a little bit too much.
People get into crazy fantasies about this shit, you know.
Yeah.
I used to be on.
It's the worst part, but, you know, fucking it wasn't even Dimebag's fault. You know, it was like Phil Anselmo's fault 100%.
Well, true, but that's neither here.
See, so that's I wanted to show you. Like that guy thinks it's Phil's fault.
Well, what's interesting, because he said the guy that shot him was mad at Dime, and then he went and said that himself.
But you're right. Why wouldn't the guy have gone after Phil Anselmo if Phil Anselmo broke the band up?
Well, this guy just said that the dude that shot him was mad at Dime.
Was mad at Dime for doing it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to like really go into the evidence because I'm big on that. I'm like, what's the evidence? Right. So this will be a little bit long, but let's go through the Wikipedia entry and like some of the evidence. So on December 8th, 4 people were murdered, 3 others wounded in a mass shooting at the Alrosa Villa nightclub in Columbus. Alrosa Villa, if you're pronouncing Spanish correctly. Gringos. Columbus, Ohio, United States. The main target of the attack was Dimebag Darrell Abbott, who was on the stage performing with his band Damage Plan at the time of the shooting. During the opening song, 25-year-old Nathan Gale rushed the stage at the time of the shooting and released a series of bullets, killing Abbott. 3 minutes after opening fire, Gale was shot and killed by police officer James Niggemeyer. Abbott sustained multiple gunshot wounds to the head and was pronounced dead at the scene. The other fatalities were Jeffrey Mayhem Thompson, Damage Plan's head of security, who tackled Gale, Aaron Hulk, an Alrosa employee who tried to restrain Gale, and Damage Plan fan Nathan Bray, who had jumped onto the stage to aid Abbott and Thompson. Damage Plan's tour manager Chris Palooka and drum technician John Brooks suffered non-fatal gunshot wounds and were taken to Riverside Methodist Hospital, while road crew member Travis Burnett was treated at the scene. The motive for the shooting is still unknown. Gale, a former member of the United States Marine Corps, had told his mother and employer he had been discharged due to paranoid schizophrenia, and many of his friends observed erratic behavior from Gale in the months leading up to the shooting. Some news outlets claimed Gale was angry with Abbott for the dissolution of his previous band Pantera. So this is a media thing. Like the media kind of started this rumor, while others believe Gale was operating under the delusion that Pantera had plagiarized his lyrics and were attempting to steal his identity. So that's the thing. We'll keep going here. A number of heavy metal artists released tributes to Abbott after his death, while others pushed for increased security concerts to prevent such another incident. Niggemeyer was valorized for his action and retired from the police department in 2011 with post-traumatic stress disorder. Abbott's brother and Pantera drummer Vinnie Paul resented singer Phil Anselmo for his perceived role in influencing the shooter and remained distant from other members of the band until his death in 2018. So the background, we can kind of skip this first part, but on April 8th, Pantera found named Nathan Gale interrupted a Damage Plan for performance it wasn't Bogart's nightclub. What the hell?
No, this is a different date. Oh,
okay. Jumping onto the stage and causing $1,800 worth of damage to lighting and other equipment during an ensuing a police struggle. Oh, so he had already jumped on the stage before.
Okay, so it is the same night, just a different. Well, that doesn't make sense because it said
because it's a different. Yeah, that's a weird misprint there on Wikipedia's part. So anyway, the stuff I wanted to get to in this is the shooting December 8th. Yeah, see, that's a mistake in Wikipedia. On Wednesday, December 8th, Damage Plan was headlining a concert at the Alrosa Villa nightclub in Columbus. The venue had capacity of 600 and it sold 250 tickets for the evening show. Club manager Rick Kalula and other outgoers noticed Gale loitering in the parking lot during the opening acts, Volume Deer and 12 Gauge, and asked why he was outside, to which he responded, "I don't want to see no shitty local bands. I'm going to wait for Damage Plan." By the time Damage Plan took the stage at 10:15, the crowd had grown to approximately 400. Gale entered the premises by scaling a 6-foot wooden fence on the north side of the venue and entering through a patio door. At 10:20, so he didn't even go in the front door. At 10:20 p.m., partway into the opening song of Damage Plan's set, Gale, dressed in a Columbus Blue Jackets hockey jersey and a hooded sweatshirt, jumped on the stage and drew his Beretta 92 FS 9mm semi-automatic pistol. He moved directly towards Abbott and shot him 4 times at point-blank range in the right cheek, left ear, in the back of the head, and the right hand. Joe Demeron, the bassist for Volume Dealer, said that Gale shouted something but did not know what. Some attendees did not realize that the shooting had taken place, with security guard Ryan Melchior saying people were pumping their fists thinking it was a hoax.
Wow.
After shooting Abbott, Gale began firing on other attendees, beginning with... So now he's shooting other people, beginning with the tour manager, Chris Paluca, who was shot once in the chest before Damage Plan security chief Jeffrey Mayhem Thompson tackled Gale from behind. Thompson was fatally shot in the chest and upper thigh. Ensuing struggle, Nathan Bray, a Damage Plan fan, leapt onto the stage and was fatally shot in the chest while attempting to resuscitate Abbott and Thompson. Aaron Stoney Halk, an Alrosa Valley employee and former Marine who had either assisted Thompson or had charged Gale while he was reloading, was mortally wounded by 6 shots, 4 in the chest, 1 in the hand, and 1 in the leg. Travis Burnett, a member of Volume Dealer's road crew, attempted to disarm Gale and was grazed by a bullet on his left forearm. Burnett fled the scene when the subsequent gunshots were aimed at his head. Drum technician John Cat Brooks attempted to subdue Gale. He was shot twice in the leg and was taken as a hostage. Responding within 3 minutes to a 911 dispatch call, Officer James Niggemeyer of the Columbia's Division of Police entered the club through the backstage door and shot Gale once in the face with a 12-gauge, ironically, one of the band's, Remington Model 870 shotgun, killing him instantly at the time of his death. Gale had a half-full magazine in his Beretta and another 30 rounds of ammunition on his person.
Jeez.
Fans removed Abbott from the stage and attempted cardiopulmonary resuscitation until paramedics arrived at the scene when Abbott was pronounced dead. He was 38 years old. Thompson, 40, and Hulk, 29, were also pronounced dead at the scene. Bray, 23, was transported to Riverside Methodist Hospital and was declared dead at 11:10 p.m. Paluska and Brooks were also transported to Riverside, where they ultimately survived and recovered from their injuries. Burnett received treatment at the scene and declined transport to the hospital. Okay, probably because he didn't have health care, poor guy. So this is the part that I wanted to talk about, because this guy was crazy, and there's actually more proof that he thought Pantera, the Dimebag, and Vinny were trying to steal his identity and his lyrics for his songs because he was a fucking loon bag. So here's this guy's background, basically.
Because what's this guy's band?
I don't even know if he has a band. I think he's just crazy, but I think it talks about it here. So Nathan Miles Gale was born September 11th, 1979. So he's a little bit younger than me. The youngest of 3 sons to Gerald and Mary Gale. He spent the first few years of his life in the Chicago suburb of Lansing until his parents divorced. He then moved to Marysville, Ohio, with his 2 older brothers. Gale initially attended. So this is all relevant. Gale lived with his mother after graduation, working a variety of minimum wage jobs and developing a problem with substance abuse. He often complained of being watched, which his mother attributed to his drug use, when a violent confrontation with his mother led to a police intervention. Gale was thrown out of the house. So he got violent with his own mother. Gale was thrown out of the house and became homeless. He supported himself through panhandling and theft until he agreed to enter a drug rehabilitation program, after which his mother allowed him to return. Gale's encounters with law enforcement at this time were minor, some trespassing charges from skateboarding, as well as one instance where he was accused of stealing from work. In February 2002, inspired by the September 11th attacks, Gale enlisted in the United States Marine Corps. Proud of military service, Gale's mother purchased the Beretta pistol as a Christmas present. After he completed basic trainings, Gale was stationed at Camp Lejeune in North Carolina with the 2nd Marine Division until he was discharged in November 2003, less than halfway through the typical 4-year enlistment period. A USMC spokeswoman declined to explain the reason behind Gale's military discharge. Gale told his mother he was discharged due to being diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. Although he had returned with medication, he declined additional treatment after returning home. The Department of Veteran Affairs found Gale a job as a mechanic, and he informed his employer, Rich Sekula, of his condition. An autopsy performed by the Franklin County Coroner's Office found no trace of drugs in Gale's system, prescription or otherwise. Standing 6'3" and weighing over 250 pounds, Gale decided to take up boxing and football after his military discharge. He joined Lima Thunder, a semi-professional football team, as an offensive lineman, and would listen to Pantera before games. Gale, a lifelong fan of heavy metal, became obsessed with Pantera while he was in high school and remained fixated on the band even after their 2003 separation. Gale's former friend Dave Johnson told reporters that Gale had shown up at a mutual friend's house with Pantera lyrics that he claimed were his own, asserting that Pantera had plagiarized the lyrics and were attempting to steal his identity.
Okay. This dude wasn't even 4 years old when Ride My Rocket came out.
Whoa!
Ride my rocket, wear me out.
Thanks, Joey. Yeah, and also there's like the only kind of proof of any motive we've had so far, right? Is his friend saying that he thought that that they were attempting to steal his identity. Right. No one said that he was mad about the band's breakup.
I don't want to speak out of ignorance or anything here, but like, to me, if someone's diagnosed with some sort of paranoid schizophrenia or something, they should just automatically not be allowed to own firearms.
I couldn't agree more. You know, especially people with a history of violence. This guy assaulted his own mother.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. To me, that's where things really went south here.
Totally. His mom got in his mom's the one who bought him the gun. So
was that before or after he assaulted her?
I think it was after, because in the timeline he came back from the military.
Yeah.
And she was proud of his military service, so she got him the gun.
I don't know. I don't want to blame her for everything that happened either, but like, that's, chain of events, like that's, I don't know.
Yeah, hold on. Let's go back and look at that.
I mean, if he's got a history of violence and he attacked her, why would she buy him anything that could harm someone?
Yeah. Destruction of property. Lackman had joked, "I'd like to introduce you to the fifth member of the band." Oh, wow. That is so weird.
What's that?
On April 8th, 2004, a Pantera fan named Nathan Gale interrupted a Damage Plan performance at Bogart's nightclub in Cincinnati, Ohio, jumping onto the stage and causing...
Yeah, so this was 8 months prior to the shooting, because that was December.
Because I skipped over that part. The band was unfazed by the incident. An attendee later stated that after Gale had been removed from the venue, Lackman had joked, Patrick Lackman, the singer of Damage Plan, "I'd like to introduce you to the fifth member of the band." So it's almost like the military might have been what screwed him up even more, because it says in February 2002, inspired by symptom, he enlisted and then Gale told his mother he'd been discharged due to being diagnosed with paranoid, although he had returned.
Yeah.
There were no drugs in his system, and it's
so no drugs in his system. So it's not substances either. It's like, that's just mental illness there. So
yeah. So maybe the mom did buy him the gun before the military.
But either way, I just don't mental illness is not something to mess with. And I just think there's certain mental illnesses that no one should own firearms,
Yeah. Okay, so aftermath. This is part of the thing I wanted to cover here too, because the media ran with the story that he was mad that Pantera broke up, even though there's no evidence of that. There is evidence that the one friend did actually say thought Pantera was stealing his lyrics and his identity.
Yeah.
After the shooting, it was speculated that Gale had been motivated by Pantera's disbandment, with initial reports claiming that he had shouted, "You broke up Pantera," or "This is breaking up Pantera," before opening fire. Statements never corroborated by witnesses. Others cited a Metal Hammer interview with Anselmo that had been published shortly before the shooting, where Anselmo said that Abbott deserves to be severely beaten. Investigators found no evidence that Gale had been motivated either by Pantera's split or by the dispute between Abbott and Anselmo, and were unable to find evidence that Gale had read the interview. The fact that the shooting occurred exactly 24 years after the murder of John Lennon was also deemed coincidental. Yeah, Diamond John Lennon, like that. After listening to the recording of Metal Hammer interview, Vinnie Paul concluded that Anselmo had not been joking about the beaten severely comment, and from that he declined to speak with Anselmo or Pantera bassist Rex Brown, although plans for a Pantera reunion tour had been discussed with Zakk Wylde filling in for Abbott. The rift with Vinnie remained until his death in 2018. And then the rest is about the police officer basically getting awards from the NRA and stuff. And
look at that down towards the bottom. Gail's mother referred to him as a hero.
Nathan, the guy who shot her son. Yeah. So she knew. She probably felt guilty, I'm sure.
It just sucks all the way around,
Yeah, it's terrible. I mean, the guy was clearly unstable. I mean, it's the same story every time. It's like someone who is mentally unstable, shouldn't be playing with these toys and is. Investigation. So this is the next piece of this I wanted to share. Investigation. This is from MTV News, and it's an archive, so the photo's gone. But investigation into Dimebag killing finds no connection to Pantera split. Police no closer to understanding the killer's motivation. The Columbus, Ohio detectives investigating the slaying of Damageplan guitarist Dimebag Darrell Abbott may never learn what inspired Nathan Gell's murderous rampage on December 8th, 2004. But according to a report in the Columbus Dispatch, after months of working on the case and 287 eyewitness interviews, investigators have dismissed one common theory that the shootings were motivated by the breakup of Pantera, Abbott's former band, or a public dispute between Abbott and Pantera lead singer Phil Anselmo. The Dispatch, which obtained the 627-page investigative file on the case Wednesday, quotes a document in which Detective William Gillette wrote, "There is no evidence leading detectives to believe Nathan Gale was communicating with Phil Anselmo or any other individual in an effort to hurt Dimebag Darrell Abbott." I don't think that's what anyone was saying either. Like, no one's saying that Phil planned it, but they were saying that the interview
media trying to stir things up
that he had given. Yeah, so there's a little bit more in this. The documents further reveal that police searched Gale's apartment in the wake of the shooting and found no computers or magazines or compact discs connected with either Damageplan or Pantera, according to the Dispatch. However, a Damageplan CD was found in the player of Gale's Pontiac Grand Am, which he drove to the concert. Investigators had hoped the interviews conducted with members of Damageplan and the band's crew, concertgoers, club employees, police officers, and emergency personnel would clarify details about the shooting, including the order in which Gale's victims were shot. That issue remains clouded, but the accounts do provide a clearer portrait of what happened at the club that evening before Officer James Niggemeyer's arrival on the scene. While some of the witnesses contended Gale produced the gun after stepping onto the stage and targeted Dimebag first, Damageplan's tour manager Christopher Paluska told police that he was shot first while trying to prevent Gale from taking the stage. Mr. Paluska related that he grabbed the guy after this individual turned around and shot him. According to the police documents, after doing this, Paluska ran to the side of the stage where someone helped him lie down, and he watched as Dimebag Darrell Abbott got shot by the shooter. So no evidence. People that are mad about Phil. I know Vinny. I understand why Vinny was mad too, because they were going through a feud, and he was saying mean shit about him in the press, and so it's easy to go like, "Oh, fuck you, dude! Like you caused the death of my brother." But it's a little more complex than that.
Well, I mean, it's tragic, and then you mix in anger and bitterness and all that, and it just rumors fly. I'm thankful we got what we got now. We got a legacy of two Abbott brothers and all their bands, and then what's left of Pantera is it's going on the way it should.
We can't forget this.
Ride my rocket, wear me out.
I mean,
it blows my mind that a song I've never heard of before, 6 months ago, is now being played all the time.
It's a great song, man. You can't let great cultural moments fade away.